This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
Now, how you doing? Hi. Hi.
It's Tony Cantwell Shit Show. And I know that the show is Tony Cantwell Shit Show.
Tony Cantwell here. Welcome back to Tony Cantwell Shit Show. Year-long hiatus. I'm sorry about that. Whatever. Shit happens. Then you marry one. Listen. Sorry about that, Look, seriously. Sorry I disappeared. Sorry I didn't disappear. Just appeared more prominently on my other podcast, Young Hot Guys. Didn't disappear, was just there in plain sight. People being like, you're bringing the podcast back, and I would write back to people, and I would say, absolutely, next week. And people think, I was doing a bit. I believed that every time. Because I'm a liar. Look, I'm a liar. All right? I've never claimed to be anything less than a liar. I'm a hypocrite. Proud of it. No, look, I am sorry. Okay? I lay you down. And I kissed you on your little head. Dirty mind. I kissed you on your little head, and I said, I'm going to be back in a few minutes. All right. But I was freaking out. Look, if you know why I quit this podcast, I did a bong. I did a hit of weed, man. All right. Legalize it, bro. You know what I mean? I did a bong of weed, and I started freaking out, man. You know what it's like. You know what it's like when you do a big bong and you go into a shed that is basically a manifestation of your own anxiety. You've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the wall like a child because you hope it's going to be a cool hangout spot for your friends, and then you never invite them over. Look, listen. Live. I blimped it, all right? Well, no, I needed it. I'm not going to lie. From a fucking count, bro, all right? For the head. I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I didn't like talking. And I went to therapy for a year. Look, you want to find out all about that? Go see You Cry Weird on tour very soon. But listen, I had a little break. Did you enjoy your little break there, did you? All right. Then back to business. We're here, all right? We're here to do something. Look, I started this podcast 6 years ago. First, to review the trailer for The Rise of Skywalker, a movie I hate. A movie I hate dearly. And then the next episode was a review of The Toy Show. All right? For some reason, The Toy Show it's always come back to The Toy Show. My first ever video that I put out of Ryan Tuberty scaring a child. Ronan, you scared? That was the first ever video that I posted on a quote-unquote Tony Cantwell comedian public page. I found it very hard to do that at the time. It was excruciating to select a comedian. It was and it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? I've always been very deluded. Do you know what I mean? But it was kind of like, I was going to be like me saying, comedian, But anyway, reason I say this is it all comes back to The Toy Show. I've been on The Late Late Show. All right? I've been on The Late Late Show. I know how it works now. They forgot to give us makeup when we were on. I would have went out there looking like a fucking boiled fish. But luckily I said, hi, can I have some makeup, please? Because you just have to ask for things. Today, do you know what I did? In the estate, right? Our bloody internet went down in the estate. All right, and I'm in the WhatsApp group in the estate. And they said, is anyone else's internet down? I can't reach anyone. I can't reach, it's a Sunday. All right, it's a Sunday. As of recording, it's a Sunday. And I said, hold my child, all right? And I got on to them. And I called the business line. And I said, hi, we have an outage. Is this a business? I said, nope. But I can't speak to the household line right now because it's not open, because you value the almighty dollar. I says, I didn't. I said, no, but look, they won't speak to me, so I'm going to have to speak to you. It's gone down. Oh, can you do anything about it? And then I gave them my account number, and they were like, oh, we'll look into that and give you a call back. And I was like, no, look, I'm going to stay on hold. If that's all right with you. And he's like, no, but I'm going to call you back. He said, I won't do the accent. And I haven't. I'm going to call you back. And I said, I understand that, but I much prefer, and I know it's going to be a while, but I'm just going to stay on hold. I'd be unhappy if you hung up the call. So he put me on hold. for only 3 minutes. And then he said, oh, yes, so look, it is down. The website said it wasn't, but it is actually down. So we're going to be sending some people out there. And look, I'll give you a call back once I have an update on that. And I said, thank you so much for telling me that. I'll certainly tell my neighbours now. I'm not getting off the phone, though, until you have that update. And I understand that's probably going to be a while. And I understand, so they have to drive here and they have to fix it. And you know, you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable. Me just sitting there, you're just going to see this little flicking red light and know that I'm there listening to. You know, I was singing this at him, and I'm fine with that. It's a banger. I don't mind waiting. And he said, oh, an update just came in. It's actually going to be fixed at 12. And I'm like, ah. And I told the neighbours, listen, I got onto the business line. Hey, don't worry about it. I do it all the time. I got onto the business line. It says it's going to be fixed at 12. But caveat, he may have been looking to get me off the phone because I refused to leave. But look, one person in the WhatsApp group in the estate said, get that man a medal. So, look, you know, I got shit going on, all right? No, look, if you've been missing me talk about how you can annoy people over phone for your internet, I'm so glad to be delivering that back to you. But look, let's talk toy show. Listen, I watched this toy show and I have to say, first toy show now I've ever watched with kids in the room. Not just kids on the screen. It was a proper Avatar experience. I was there putting my hand out, thinking that my hand was going to go to the young fella's face, being like, so real, you know. What are you doing? But so I had a whole fucking 4D Avatar experience watching the Late Late, and I got to say, ooh, did the Grinch's small heart grow 3 sizes this day? No, I'm still laying into the kids. But on the topic of the Grinch, we kick things off. Liam Neeson doing the voiceover, doing all the Who's down in Whoville. You know, I have a particular set of Grinch. I have a particular, whoever you are, I will find who, and I will kill Cindy Lou Who. No more than 2. Whopper intro. This lad, fucking, ever since Neeson been getting that Pam Anderson gig. No. He's been warmed. He's warmed quite a bit, you know. Anyway, look, Liam Neeson does the intro. And I have to say, whopper special effects. Whopper makeup, I have to say. Keelty looks like the fucking Grinch. And they even do a little Home Alone thing where he's going across the thing, he's screaming into the screen. And you know what? I'm like, all right, this is not Tubbs off Broadway, you know, being, I may as well chance it. If I get to do this, if I get to vicariously act out this musical, I want to be in Spotlight Stage School. Don't mind going to London. Don't mind doing fucking whatever, Virgin Radio or whatever he's doing. He, motherfucker, wanted to be in Spotlight the whole time. Keelty does not have the similar kind of ambition, you know. He wants to say numbers on the screen and cry about it, all right? And I support that because it gets you going. Anyway, Spotlight Spade School. Yeah, I didn't get in a Spotlight Stage School, but got in a Spotlight Spade School, so pretty much as good as. We have a bucket. We don't go on stage, but we got a bucket and a little, what's it called? Now I'm French, like a little shovel. In Spotlight Spade School, we have like a bucket and a shovel, that kind of thing. We don't do like singing and dancing, but we have like a bucket and a spade and something. I'm not leaving. There's no edits in this podcast, Hillary. There is no edits. We're going through Spotlight Spade School. The Spotlight Stage School kids come out. And I still don't know how they have a fucking monopoly over this shit, but whatever. I think we need to have a free market when it comes to dancing, attention-seeking kids, but whatever. For some reason, Spotlight are locked in. All right, Spotlight kids coming out, they're dancing around as little, you know, little whoos. All right, little whoos. They start throwing snowballs at the screen. Every single one of them miss because they're in drama. Okay, they're not doing sport, and you can very clearly see why. Some of them should be relegated to the Spotlight Spade School, but we will get to that later. Then you have some kids shredding air guitar Motherfuckers never played a guitar in their lives. Don't mind it though. They're children, tiny children. Oh, I'm going to be conflicted this time, but whatever. We're going to move through. I have to say, I was impressed by the opening. All right. As Liam Neeson said to Pam Anderson, is in, or Guy. Anyway, look. Gary's not coming in here. All right. Grinchy Gary's not coming in here. All these jokes are fucking class. Moving on. I will say, they had this thing where it was kind of like Patrick Kielty dressed as the Grinch. I haven't even explained what's happening here. Patrick Kielty was dressed as the Grinch, and he was fucking good. And then he goes into a Grinch wash, which is kind of like a car wash for Grinches. And set designers, you unsung heroes. All these lads are there with a jigsaw trying to cut out the shape of a Grinch. You fucking smashed it. He goes in there, he comes back out, not with the Grinch face anymore, which looked like proper put-on prosthetics, I have to say. But he took it off super quick, comes back out, smashed it. Great start to the show, I have to say. Pretty decent. Then he comes out, he's doing the monologue. Not doing as many puns, but he's speaking in rhyme, like rappers or something. And then he says, Whoville, more like, who's this idiot? Who's this idiot? Dressed up, idiot. Anyway, we're in the set now, right? Everyone's singing and dancing. You got the Spotlight stage school kids. They do a hilarious thing where they're going to throw snowballs at the camera. Every single one of them miss because they're in drama, not sport. Okay, their parents identified something in them early on, which was not sport, and then they've been looking for different avenues. It's why people get into politics. You know what I mean? It starts off. Can you do sport? Okay. Can you do drama? No. All right, get this fucker into debating, right? Because he's a smart arse as well. And then that's why we have the doll. That's how it happens. Then you have kids shredding the guitar. Motherfuckers never played a guitar in their life. All right? I'd have been in there like Jack Black, being like, this is how you shred. And then they'd be like, get him out of here. Then Kielty goes into a Grinch wash, kind of like a car wash, but for Grinches. And I have to say to set designers, you motherfuckers, you're killing it. You're doing a great job. So worth the joke. This is the thing. A lot of big things get done on the Late Late Toy Show, not worth the joke. Whoever stayed up late, and I see you, bro, or I see you, girl, staying up late with a jigsaw, cutting a Grinchy shape out of a bit of plywood so that Kielty could walk into it and take off his nose. I fucking see you. You killed it. Well done. He comes out, still dressed as the Grinch. It looked like prosthetics, I have to say, but it wasn't. And then he's there in the Grinchy suit. And he says, all us down here in Whoville, Whoville, more like, who is that idiot dressed as the Grinch? Which, hey, you gotta have something, I suppose. And that's what they went with. That's fine. And then Kielty's talking to the audience and he says, and of course we're welcoming many different guests, and of course we're welcoming 200 guests. There's a beat. The audience copy means them. They clap. Because there's something that happens, and I've said this before, Late Late Show audiences, right? I've been in that green room, all right? And not as like as a performer, sure, but also as an audience member. There's something in the wine that they're giving out there in Montrose that as soon as you drink it, you forget how to clap, all right? These are normal people, all right? These are people that as soon as they get out there, you'd swear they were the fucking alum of the Spotlight Spade School. They cannot clap. They're fucking banging two fucking shovels together. No one can clap. There's something in the water, something in the wine. All right. They immediately forget that he's talking to them. And then they eventually start applauding. Then you get Max the dog. Not a dog, he's a boy. He's a little deaf boy called Tom, doing a bit of sign language. Great energy off this young fella. I have to say, he's cool. He smashes it. All right. And Kielty, of course, is highlighting the fact that this is the whole show you can watch with sign language as well, which is great. He smashes it. He's class. But the segment was too short. I give Tom 2 out of 5. I'm sorry. This is how we're fucking doing it. It's not his fault. He was great. But he was like Ben Affleck in Batman v Superman. He's doing great. But the film let him down big time. All right? Similar segment to Tom. So I'm sorry, Tom. You seem like a lovely young fella. You fucking smashed it personally. But the segment was too short. And, I'm sorry, it's 2 out of 5. All right, look, I am taking no prisoners. You can call me Jin Kazama, all right, because I'm taking no prisoners tonight, right? Declan from Cork comes out, bouncing on a snake. bouncing on a snake. Turns out it was a dinosaur. It looked like a fucking snake to me. He's got a lot of dinosaur toys. And I'm like, oh, a future little paleontologist here. You're going to have some fucking Johnny No Name coming out here blowing the kid's mind. You know? There's going to be some, Sam Neill's going to come out. You know? Heard a story saying someone was working on The Tudors. Mate of mine was an extra. And he said, of course we have, one of the producers was like, of course we have, you have Sam Neill here from Jurassic Park. Lovely guy. Feel free to chat to him. He's been where you were as extras, but don't talk about Jurassic Park. Do not talk to Sam Neill about Jurassic Park. And that always stuck with me. Anyway, speaking of Jurassic Park, they got a lot of little babies hatching, little raptors or something coming out with egg. Let me tell you, as soon as that raptor's out of the egg, a lot of these toys now, you get one go. It's like the whole toy is the thing coming out of the thing, and then it's gone. Got his young fella a little slime warrior thing. You pump it full of slime. And it's, the pageantry of it all. You open individual packets of slime. You put it in this little plunger. You drop little crystals in it. Weird little fake-looking maggots. And then you pump it into this little Stretch Armstrong. Class! Sounds amazing. And then what are you doing with the fucking pump after that? None. A lot of pageantry for a little stretchy fucker the kid won't even look at. Wouldn't even piss on if it was on fire. All right? So there's a lot of these things coming out with things, toys, that, you get great kick out of on Christmas Day. But it's for the replayability. Anyway, got these raptors hatching from eggs. And then I'm like, they're definitely going to bring Sam Neill out here, right? And then the young fella is like, oh, and he picks up this small dinosaur and he's like, this is the mammy one. And those are her babies. And he's old enough now, to be honest, that's a Styracosaur, mate. All right. Are we to believe that a Styracosaur, a herbivore Styracosaur, is now giving birth to raptors? He has no hope as a paleontologist. And don't mention that when Sam Neill. Don't mention Jurassic Park when Sam Neill comes out. You fucking lamp you, even if you're a child. But don't mention as well that you don't know that a Styracosaurus is, that you think a Styracosaurus is the mam of a raptor, all right? But anyway, I'm thinking this kid's not going to be a good paleontologist. And then Paddy is all like, what do you love about... What is this about dinosaurs? What is this whole thing about dinosaurs? What does he love about dinosaurs? And it's, you know what? It's one of those questions that there's no good answer to, because you're just going to sound dumb. Even if you're like, some, knighted of the realm paleontologist. What do you say? They're big. Well, at Spotlight Space School, we like big dinos. And I love that they could eat us. I think that's cool. And I liked, I suppose, the relief, despite what creations will tell you, that we missed the dinosaurs by hundreds of millions of years. I'm grateful for that they didn't eat us then. And I like the dead. I like the bones, But Declan, he just says what we're all thinking. We're always intellectualizing this bullshit, right? What is this thing about dinosaurs? What do you like about dinosaurs? He goes, they're just very cool. Big pop from the audience, all right? Can we stop over-intellectualizing everything? Everything everyone does that isn't a shit job is just because they thought it was cool when they were a kid. He takes out a little toothless puppet from How to Train Your Dragon. Do you remember that movie Eragon? Remember there was a movie called Eragon about a dragon? I have no bit on it. There was this movie came out. It was a big marketing push. Come see these dragons in Eragon. Anyway, I just thought it was a funny title. Anyway, takes out Toothless from How to Train Your Eragon, and he says, "What's great about this now? His eyes move and it breathes smoke. He doesn't do either with it. Good to know, Declan. Would have loved to see it. Leaving me and the rest of the puppeteer community with fucking big Cookie Monster blue balls waiting for this fucking thing to move. Whatever." Paddy cracks out a mosasaur. Kid doesn't seem too into it, but Paddy's big on this mosasaur. Big water dino fucker that eats everything. Eats everything in so much as its mouth opens and it's a big hunk of plastic and you can put stuff in the mouth. Audience seems a bit reluctant for the mosasaur. Not too big on it. Paddy can't believe this thing. Obviously, motherfucker never heard of a bag. You can put stuff in it and you can take it out again. Put it in, and you can take it out. Guys, have you ever? What's this thing about holding your phone and your keys and your wallet all at the same time in your hands, and you can't do it with your hands? Look at this mosasaur, man. Like, you fucking put a hand on that, and all you're doing is now you're still carrying a fucking dino under your arm, but like at least one of your hands is free, you know. But then the mosasaur shits everything out. Yes, which is a fantastic segue into a bit where Declan starts chipping golf balls into a jacks in a toy that I still don't know if he invented or is just one that you can buy. He calls it Pitch and Potty. Pitch and Potty. He's got a good bit about how when he had to use a big toilet, he told his mom, "Get the fuck out of here. You think you're getting rid of that potty?" There's loads of uses for that. Like what? Chipping golf balls in. Anyway, he then pursues a career in golf just to keep his potty. Normal behavior. And then Declan, and then Paddy's like, "Are you going to chip a fucking ball in or what?" And then Declan's loving the limelight. He gives Paddy a shit, a little emoji poop. And he says, "Now you can snuggle that and think of me on Christmas." And the audience applaud. And he throws up fucking Simone Biles gymnast hands. Can't get a read on this guy, but I love him. All right, and he's a proper little twisted freak joker, giving fucking host of the Late a shit, you know. And then he says, "How long have you been golfing?" "I've been golfing for 6-7 years." One of many 6-7 memes this year, which I got. And this is something new for me: is understanding what's fucking going on with children. So this change, like I knew everyone's been saying this fucking 6-7. Niece, nephew constantly saying 6-7. And I get a kick out of it. Because people are always like 6 or 7 years. People are always saying that. I don't know where it comes from, but I respect brain rot in person. Don't give me any of that fucking YouTube brain rot. Give me fucking real human connection brain rot of a young fella saying 6-7 or chicken jockey. We'll get back to that in a second. Anyway, Paddy then does a great bit. He swaps out his, finds a Grinch hat, but it's like a golf Grinch hat. And he starts doing golf commentary. And I tell you, the amount of fucking green fur they had to get through, these production assistants, these set designers, these people, they're the unsung heroes of TV. There's some, young fella or young one who, is making minimum wage. The back of their fucking car is covered in green fur. They probably raided all of the places that sell green fur on the island of Ireland, The car looks like it's a fucking, Oscar the Grouch had a soup kitchen orgy in the back, all to make this little hat, The unsung heroes. Then he makes some pun, Paddy, that I don't remember. But then the kid is trying to chip the ball into the pitch and potty, and he hits the rim. And Paddy goes to the audience, "Oh, he hit the rim." Making rimmer jokes. This fucking show is unreal. It's all Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Everyone they love rimmers. You know what I mean? He's speaking to the audience, And then eventually, young fella gets it in, throws his hands up again like Simone Biles. Everyone goes fucking crazy. And then he remembers why he was supposed to be doing it in the first place, because he was saying that he loves Shane Lowry. I don't know how people aren't wise to this. Do you know what I mean? About when, apropos of nothing, the host of the toy show will just be like, "And tell me, do you love, do you love Franco Columbo, Schwarzenegger's former training partner?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's all right." He's dead now, Franco Columbo. I don't know why his first name came to mind, but you know what I mean? Are they not getting wind to this? They always seem so oblivious to it. But the young fella does an impression of Shane Lowry, Sugar Shane Lowry. And then we see Big SL on the video, who, to be perfectly honest, should have been replaced by AI. Look, I don't think they should do that, in general. I mean, the kids fucking don't know the difference, you know what I mean? But, like, Jesus, he really did phone it in, Sugar Shane Lowry. It's only because you see how big he is in the interviews, and how emotional. He has it in him. And I mean, a beautifully shot. He had fucking Scorsese shoot this stupid little video message for the kid. But oh my God, maybe he should have been replaced by AI. Maybe it should have been the face of Shane Lowry being like, "Well, yeah. So, Declan, I hear you're really into golf. So you want to come over? We can golf, and you let me know when a day suits." You know, could fucking GPT that shit. Do you know what I mean? Because you just get some kind of emotion out of Sugar Shane. Either way, Declan can't believe it. He loves it. I give Declan 4 out of 5. Okay. See, I can be generous as well. Then you have St. Etta's Special School. Miss Maury getting a shout out from the kids. And then they're about to start the toy show appeal. So what they do is Paddy is going to stretch out his big, long, grinchy arm and all the kids are going to pass it along and then eventually hit the button. Now, I can see this coming a mile away, of course, because, you know, I love magic. And I'm always looking for the little tricks. I'm always looking for... And I tell you, something did give it away. It's when the production assistants ran on holding a big fucking spag ball plate of arm. You could just see it. A big, long green arm rolled up. And I was like, oh, they're going to do something with that arm. Anyway, stretches it across. Kid at the end fucking smashes that button. The appeal is on. And look, the effect, it worked on the young fella, my 5-year-old. He was like, how'd he do that? How'd he actually do that, though? And though, to be fair, you know, it's the same young fella that I told today, literally, that you could legally change into a blue ball if you want to. But it's a big kind of ball ache to do because there's a lot of paperwork, and he believed me. So, you know, it worked on him. All right. I might be sending him to the spade school. We'll see how good he is, right? Anyway, then you have the kids coming out singing Apata, a song I know because I have kids. Apata, apata, apata. I don't like it. Terry loves it, constantly playing it. And look, these kids that come out, they're wearing, you know, leather jackets. They kind of look like Olivia Newton-John in Grease. And they go for it. I mean, if I was Louis Walsh, I'd probably be like, and guys, you went out there, you had a great time, and you know, the audience love you. But look, I'll say this about the performance, right? They went for it. And look, let me be perfectly clear. If someone ever said what I'm about to say about these kids, about my kids, I would find out where they live. I would sack in this comedy game, become a local barista in their cafe, and microdose them with ground glass until they died. All right? That's what I would do if someone was said what I'm about to say about these kids. Either way, gotta say it. Song's too big for you, babe. Song's too big for you, babe. All right? A for effort. And then, you know, you have the Irish dancing kids come out saving the day. Honestly, I wish I had these Irish dancers. They could save any performance. Like, I tried a bit at Young Hot Gags, our new material night that we do, and it was a joke about me grieving dead dream girlfriends that I have. And everyone hated it. Everyone hated it. They hated this joke. And not even because of the grieving of, you know, a woman or anything. It was more that they know my wife and they like her. All right? They hated this joke. But it's what fucking, I'm not, you know, I'm sorry to tell you. If you're engaged at the moment and you're a man or a woman, I don't know. I've not spoken to Terry about this. I don't want to know. But no one tells you that you do end up like grieving. You had a girlfriend that night and then you wake up and then, you know, you're staring at your kids in 2D for a while until you realize, all right, I guess this is my life, which I love, but it's just a bit of a shock right now. All right. Anyway, if only I'd have had these Irish dancing kids when that joke was an absolute clanger, you know, I'd be like, no one tells you how many dream girlfriends you're going to grieve. And then 7 Irish dancing kids come out. Would have been amazing. Anyway, it was too hard of a song, but they really gave it their all. 3 out of 5. I give the Apatow kids. The Judd Apatow's children, Maud Apatow. Then they do a bit of a spy bit. Young fella fucking perked up at this. Loves the idea of being a spy. But to be honest, I think I've over-egged it a bit with the whole I can't see it. Where is he? Where's he gone? Because I'm a terrific actor, as you know. So I'm always like, where's he gone? Where's he gone? I can't see him. That he believes that he can kind of stand in plain sight. He thinks I'm a fucking T-Rex, my son. He thinks that my eyesight is totally based on movement. I was talking to Sam Neill about this before he lamped me, right? That he thinks that he can just stand there perfectly still and I don't see him. So he loves the idea of being a spy. So they have this girl and they're both wearing little Groucho Marx kind of, you know, disguises, which is actually just my face, to be perfectly honest. The Groucho Marx thing. I mean, I could put on the Groucho Marx thing and I'd be like, oh, there's Tony. You know? Because I think I have a big nose. I think I have a big nose, guys. All right? It's my nose, isn't it, children? I can't help that. Anyway, A bit of Simpsons quote for you there. Anyway, she's a spy. They're supposed to be doing this kind of briefcase swap. All right. They don't really do the kind of like, well, they say in Soviet Russia, blah, blah, the wind is coming from the north or any of that shit, right? He's like, tell me, are you a spy? And she goes, I am a spy. Look, not even Tom Hanks and fucking Bridges Boys could get her off on this one. Shockingly bad spy behavior. All right. And I don't think she'd be as fucking stoic as Mark Rylance, or I'm not having a go at her. All right. She's good. To be honest, she's got a lot of charisma. This one, Lauren is her name. She's got a lot of charisma. She's great. They open the briefcases, a load of spy gear, and they don't show how to play with any of it, which previously I didn't really give a shit about, but the young fellow was fucking buzzing like a hummingbird, screaming at the TV, being, what does a night vision do? We don't see, all right, unfortunately. But not only is she a spy, she's a gymnast, this Lauren. Not only is she a spy, she's also a gymnast, real Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing. And they take out this kind of gymnast bar, and she does a little spin on it. Now, I don't know what age she is. That's probably impressive. You know what I mean? It is impressive. Good on her. She's great. She's got a lot of charisma. But let me tell you something. I don't want to see the children do anything I can do. Now, that's a move I can do. All right? That's a move I can do. There's a handful of things I can't do, but spinning around on a waist height bar, I can do, believe it or not. Now, does all the shit fall in my pockets in the playground? And me and Terry spend all the time not watching the kids and picking it back up? Yes. But this is prime time. All right. If it's a backflip, if it's a cartwheel, can't do one of them. I need to see the children personally for my enjoyment do something that I can't do. And I can do that. So it took me out of it a little bit. All right. I'm not going to go as far as to say backflip or get the fuck out of here. Lauren, she's a small girl. She's cool. She got a good vibe. She's cheeky, But I can do a tumble, is all I'm saying. Anyway, they're bringing this tumbling panda. Let me tell you, this thing is an absolute piece of trash. This is absolute dog shit, this panda, right? It is a rolling panda that is holding a piece of bamboo that kind of goes over its head and it rolls. Now, fair fucks to the cameraman or camera person, they don't show you that bamboo going round and around. So, front tumbling panda is cool, all right? But, the engineering and robotic minds that had to come together to build this piece of shit. 50 quid panda that tumbles. Let me tell you something. The dads are spending more time with a tiny screwdriver trying to put the batteries in this fucking piece of shit than the kids are going to play with it. That's a fucking guarantee, all right? Then Paddy does a tumble because they're like, tumble, tumble. The audience, all of a sudden, apropos of no prompting whatsoever. Another way of saying that would be unprompted. Start going, tumble, tumble. And then Paddy, to be fair, does a bit of a jump and tumble, but it's on a very comfy mat. Bin this whole segment. And it's not because it's not good. All right? Keelty's a friend of mine. I've been on that show. He's a good personal friend of mine. I'm just thinking, again, of these production assistants carrying around a fucking 20 kilo mat so Patrick Keelty can do a tumble on it. Bin the segment. We'd be as good, we'd be as better off, or do it without the mat. And I don't want him to hurt himself, but I don't want him to hurt himself, but I want there to be some sort of challenge, doing a tumble on a mat. Okay. Anyway, Lauren, she's not bad. She's got charisma. I give her 3.5 out of 5. All right. You might notice I'm doing 0.5s in this. I'm feeling generous. What can I say? Then we get the first everyone gets some shit in the audience. This time it's the Arnott's hamper. I remember back in the day, they actually got the fucking toys. They got everything that was on. These gift cards have ruined everything in the audience. They have ruined for everyone in the audience. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to spend an Arnott's gift card on. I can't imagine that. I'm not jealous of that. I mean, I'd like to have it. But, some fucking clown might go into the fucking cafe and run up that fucking thing on scones. Someone might be going for like a Canada Goose jacket and get, I don't know how much they are. They might end up getting fucking 150 off a 350 quid jacket. Well, at least I didn't have to pay the whole 350. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't stimulate the imagination, and I don't get excited by it. Give them the fucking tumbling panda. Do you know what I mean? I'd actually be jealous of that, even though I know it's a piece of shit. Anyway, then the Friends theme plays because 2 friends are coming out. Which I don't know what else you do. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what you do. But not every child did have an intro song. For some reason, they played the opening of Friends. And I always love when the Friends theme plays and it plays too far where it goes into the no one could ever know me, no one could ever see me. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with that. Why are you so obsessed with me? I'm so obsessed with just the extra bits of songs that you never hear being played every so often. Do I have a bit on it? No, as you can plainly see. But let me tell you about these friends. This is Dylan and Keelan. You know who I'm fucking talking about. And they've known each other for about 6-7 years. Perfect delivery. Great meme. I'm loving it. We're getting a kick out of it now. Even the audience is getting behind this whole thing. All right? And then I suppose, you know what? They play the Friends theme. I'm realizing now in my notes because they've been there for each other. When the rain starts to fall, I'll be there for you. Like, the rain starts to fall, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, you know? Anyway, Dylan starts describing the friendship and he gets overwhelmed. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. And he gets a bit emotional. And Keelan, this young fella, it's already hard. Like I'm fucking crying at seeing this young fella cry, being overwhelmed by being on the show. All right. Not that would ever happen to me. I'm a pro, but either way. And then Keelan comes in and helps him with his breathing. Like that. Instantly. Forgetting the audience are there, forgetting the cameras there, forgetting Keelty is there. He literally turns to his friend. He's like, I remember you breathing. Like, you know. And it was such a immediate instinct that I felt ashamed to also be considered a human because I'm not. I couldn't believe how quick he was there to step in and help his friend. Was it staged? I don't think so. I don't know why I said it. It wasn't staged. You don't get a young fella to cry like that. And then but I mean, Jesus Christ, this young fella, he's got Tourette's. And, you know, this fucking kid's standing by his side and they're fucking, you know, inseparable, good pals. And he's there fucking helping him with his breathing. I don't know. I was bawling my eyes out crying. You know? Boys out there looking out for each other. Little boys! Anyway, they play this game where they have to list foods and kind of flip this marble. It's going up and down this thing. It's almost like you flip it up this way and then the marble's coming down to your side. And then you flip it up the other way. It's coming down to the other person's side. And basically have like categories. I mean, I fucking love this game. Because I think me and Terry need like focused arguments at the moment. Do you know what I mean? We're getting too into like personal shit at the moment. And I think we don't like personally attack each other, but there's a lot of shit going on. Do you know what I mean? You just start bringing up shit the other person didn't do or the other person did do. Or how the other one needs to kind of like emotionally regulate better and all this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like, I think it would be much better if we're just like listing foods with a marble. I think it would be like, we'd still get the energy out. Maybe we might even have a shag after. You know what I mean? It'd be structured arguments. Anyway, so, you know, this is why I quit this podcast for therapy. Anyway, so then it's like you have to name foods. These young fellas just listing potatoes. Paddy, to be fair, steps right in. He's all like, you know, this is the most Irish game I've ever seen. Great joke. But because they were only listing potatoes, technically they both were cheating. Technically different foods. Whatever. But still. Then they sing some songs. There's a whole thing where they have to sing a song with a certain word in it. And Keelan sings Keen. You know? That, what's that one that was in the John Lewis ad? I don't remember. Sings Keen. Which is a little Easter egg of who's about to appear. Keen. You know? I won't say any more. Dylan sings Lewis Capaldi. And he loves Lewis Capaldi. And he says, I was actually into Lewis Capaldi before I even knew he had Tourette's. You know? And I actually love him even more. Lewis Capaldi provides a little video message for Dylan. And he's like, how you doing, mate? Like, sorry I can't be there, but, you know, I'm going to be playing in 3 Arena and I'd love you to come. And, you know, yeah, and then he's literally said, he's about to say, you know, oh God, you know, it'd be embarrassing now if you didn't come after me doing this, you know. He's like, do you know what, you actually be, it's like, if you want to come, you know, if you don't, well, you know, it'd actually be embarrassing now for me if you did, which is very funny, but he realizes, you know, the assignment doesn't say that. Dylan's fucking losing it. Not a dry eye in the house. We were fucking balling back here in the gaff. And then, so he's excited about that. Keelan gets a bit overzealous, starts crying as well because he thinks someone's coming out for him, but we're actually having an ad break right now. It doesn't matter. Still 5 out of 5 for these boys. 5 out of 5 for these boys, we still haven't even seen what they're going to be doing. They're going to be fucking hoisted up in the air, reefing out Jenga blocks, breaking all the fucking toys. They're meant to be going to Children's Hospital. That's coming up after the show. And I turned to my wife after this first part of the toy show and I said, you know what? This might be the best first part of a toy show I've ever seen, not going to lie. All right? It was clippy. The kids all had character. The segments didn't go on. It was funny. Paddy was in the fucking pocket. Just fucking in the zone. He was there for the kids, but he was also there for the adults, fucking delivering on jokes, making a joke about rimmers. All right? And then you see all the kids, they do that thing in the ad break where you see all the kids who have emigrated to Australia, you know, basically bragging about how, you know, class it is over there. You know, they always do that. Then the kids are there, about to be hoisted up in a big Jenga tower. Roy Keane comes out. Keelan fucking loses it. Can't believe it. Dylan starts throwing the fucking Leo meme, pointing at him. That's the guy. And the lads get hoisted in the air. They fuck around a load of boxes so sick kids can get toys. What a country. Imagine they blimped it though. And they're like, sorry, unfortunately, you only got one. So all these other toys are going to the fucking bin. You're not getting this. The kids aren't getting these toys. I'm so sorry. But anyway, then I don't think Roy offers anything. I don't remember Roy offering anything other than being there. Couldn't be arsed, I imagine. I get it. You know, it's not like you can be like, you're going to go to Old Trafford, you know. Just tell him I sent you, whatever, you know. You know, because, you know, you get to walk out with me at a game. He's not playing anymore. Unless he's going to be on, you know, one of his podcasts or something. Or is that for Sky? You know, I don't know. Anyway, then we hear about some girls in Dunleary who, even though they are losers, are going to be allowed to come to the show, which is nice. These are losers. These Dunleary girls are losers. They're losers. They didn't win. The girls in Dunleary... I don't do Trump, but I'm going to try. The girls in Dunleary are losers. They're losers. They didn't win. They're getting a participation. You've heard about these participation medals. They don't deserve it. They're on a 46A coming to Donnybrook. They don't deserve it. They're losers. No, obviously this was part of the plan. They're not losers. They're very good singers, as we see later on in the show. Then you got some twins coming on. They're not identical. Boring. They're not identical. Boring. They're just siblings then. All right? Listen, if you're a twin, good for you. I love that you have that connection. I'm chuffed for you. You know, I'm sure it was a surprise to the parents, especially if you're the third kid, third and fourth. It happens all the time. Okay? But if you're not identical, you're not a twin. You're not a twin. You got these kids coming up to me, they're saying they're twins. They don't look the same. They're not twins. And then Keelty says, and what's this about being a twin? People often confuse you too, you know? They're not identical at all. You might confuse them, these two, being like, oh my God, is that the same kid? If you're fucking Chinese, in that, like, you'll be not familiar with Caucasian children. And you might think the two children were the same. That's all I'm fucking saying. What are you saying? I'm not saying nothing. You know? I'm not saying nothing, you know. Anyway, leave that in, Hillary. And also one of them's wearing like a paddy cap. So very easy. They look different anyway. And one's wearing a paddy cap. Or as Keelty would call it, a cap. You know? They're big guy heads. Mazza Rosa Tralee. We don't get a picture of her, unfortunately. They start singing Killa, the Kingfisher song, that I pretended to Terry that I knew. I mean, I'd heard it before. I didn't know it was Kingfisher. I mean, I knew Kingfisher were coming up at the same time this song was coming up, but I didn't really care why, do you know? I mean, they seemed like a great bunch of lads, do you know what I mean? But, you know, there was two facts happening at the same time. Everyone's talking about Kingfisher, and this song seems to be around a lot. I never put two and two together. But I was sitting there being like, Terry, that's fucking Kingfisher. And I was being real like, fucking, how did you not know that? Even though I literally just looked it up on my phone. And that's as far as I go now with gaslighting these days. You know, that's about as far as I go. We're doing great, by the way. Anyway, they shout, up the rebels, which is funny. And I really hope the Empire weren't watching, you know, because they wouldn't be too keen on that. I don't know if you've heard about Star Wars. Anyway, then you have the trad band coming out. And you have this little mullet protein boar kid. Kid looks like fucking protein boar. And, you know, he's also got the fucking oomph of protein boar because he fucking breaks down the fucking door with his booming vocals. Rest of the trad band kick in. You know, it's all right. You know, they're all good. They're all good. But as Paddy pointed out, I think they wanted to see who the best trad band was, and they were like, "Oh, let them all do it." And that might have been a mistake. They're all good individually, but I don't know if the whatever. Again, anyone said this about my kid, I would. Let me tell you what I'd do if you said it about my child. Even if they were involved in an ensemble like this, and it wasn't their fault. Even if you said they were good, but as an ensemble they weren't cohesive, I would find out where you live. I would steal your keys. I would sack in this whole comedy thing. I would get a job in a hardware shop, and I would wait for you to come in, and I would cover all of your keys in human shit, so that all of your doors stink of shit. Is what I would do. Just saying, right? Anyway, then Kingfisher come out, and Protein Boar is protein boring his eyes out. He loves it. And later, Kingfisher offered a kid 75 tickets to the Malahide Park gig, which is nice. Standard, though, not VIP. So, fair. You know, obviously they saw the performance, and they were like, not quite, lads, not quite VIP, but fucking well done, you know? I think they're from Limerick. I don't know, I fucked up that. I found that out when I was Googling it to pretend to Terry that I knew who they were. Then you got Shay Shay coming out, Club Shay Shay. This young fella coming out. This guy is the original prankster. This young fella is wearing the same shirt as Keelty, his first prank. Keelty doesn't say anything about it. And he also has a t-shirt underneath that says, naughty, no tick mark. Nice, no tick mark. Innocent until proven guilty, tick mark. Alan tick mark on his tick shirt. He's somewhat of a prankster, this young fella. He said something about putting a fake animal in his sister's bed and then her thinking it was real and going, ah. Young fella was fucking howling at this, you know, because he loves it. He's twisted. He's a twisted freak like his old lad. He loves it, all right? He's a prankster like his old lad. And then Paddy goes, and tell me, you pranked your sister. Now, what is this for pranking your sister? You pranked your sister and she didn't like that, but you did like it, didn't you? And he goes, I loved it. Really gets really fucking. He said, "Come here to me." I loved it, Paddy. Paddy, let me tell you something. And his voice changed. I remember. Let me tell you something. I was patiently waiting to hear the fucking sweet sound of her scream. And when I fucking, you know, it got a bit like David Fincher, Manhunter for a little smidge. And then he was playing with Hot Wheels, which is cool. And then he says, "This remote control car goes really quick." Which is an emphasis that we just don't have anymore. We just don't fucking have it anymore. This car's really... We just don't... Like, and we're missing out on that big time. Grown-ups. Just fucking going hell for leather on the really big, you know? Why do I like dinosaurs? Because they were really fucking big, you know? There needs to be more. Like, that should be a part of our language is just going... to emphasize a word, you know? Like he's a fucking bellend, you know? More of that shit. Anyway, not the young fella or Paddy or anyone like that, but if you were saying that about someone. Anyway, he likes Labubu, you know? Because I don't know who does. I don't know. I can't get a read on the Labubu thing. I think it's great. It's like, hey, we're all into Hot Wheels and Labubu. We're all bisexual. I love it. Good for everyone. Do you know what I mean? I can't get a read on these kids anymore, which I love. I love the fact that, you know, kids just... I'm old, all right? I'm getting older. Everyone's all about fucking 6'7" and being into cars and Labubu. Good for everyone. I don't understand it and I'm terrified, but that's how it should be, you know? Anyway, he does a hilarious prank. The young fella's still talking about it. He's like... He goes, you need to... I'm going to jump this car over these Labubus, but you have to put on a special suit. It's a safety suit. All right, puts it on. It's furry. And he goes, Paddy's a bit suspicious. And he goes, are you sure this is what is this about a safety suit? Are you sure this is a safety suit? And the young fella, Shay Shay, winks at the camera and he goes, yeah, it's a safety suit. Now make sure you put the helmet on. Puts the helmet on. It's a fucking Labubu. Kids were fucking howling at this shit. And I was so happy for them. I didn't think it was shit at all. I was happy for it. It was a good bit because my kids loved it. And then he's dressed like a fucking Labubu. Now, I will say, I was a bit disappointed that the car didn't try and jump over Paddy. I mean, probably weighs a kilo. Wouldn't be too hard, do you know what I mean? But I understand, you know, he's This is fucking Kilty we're talking about. You can't lose Kilty to a minor, ramming a car into him. Anyway, whatever. I give Shay. I'm going to give him a. I didn't have actually a number for him. I like Shay. The kid's got a kick. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. Well done, Shay. You fucking killed it. Then you have Niall from Donegal. Paddy comes out, chicken jockey shit, right? Comes out with the chicken jockey. He's riding on it. Looks good, by the way. Again, you set designers. The attention to detail on the pixels of this chicken jockey, all right, were unreal. And then they were like, well, you can't say, like, obviously you can't say, what is this about not being able to say a word? You can't say this word, isn't it? And he's like, and then Niall from Donegal is like, well, yeah, because some people were throwing popcorn in the air and they were making a big mess, so you just can't say the word, He's like, what's the word? Chicken jockey. Bunch of kids running out dressed as chickens. It's chaos. And then a young fella gets lost playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I would too. But this is the difficulty. This is the difficulty with getting young fellas on to review the games, right? When you're playing the games, no one else fucking there, all right? If I was there reviewing Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'd be like, what is this about Donkey Kong Bonanza? You can pick up rocks and stuff. And I'd be like, yeah. And I'd just be like, like fucking hyper-focused on this game. I would forget anyone was there, And he's like, Tony, and tell me what else can do. I would scream because you get locked in. You know what I mean? So it's always tough when they do the video games. They never really get a good. And it's just because it's like bringing a crack addict on to be like, and show me how, and is this crack any good? Like, if you're smoking this crack, like, is it any, and what would you review the crack out of 5? And he's like, it's just fucking bliss, And tell me, what is this brown? Is it? Yeah, and you have to find a kind of a vein. Is it? What is this about finding a vein? So it's tough to give kids exactly what they want and then have them review it at the same time. It's a tough gig. Anyway, I give Niall 2 out of 5 because, to be honest, bro, I like you. You're a cool kid. You're into Minecraft. You seem to know all the moves. Actually, I'm going to give you a 3.5. I was going to give you 2.5, but you knew all the kind of rock throws and stuff from Donkey. I know how to play Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I don't even have it because I'm a fucking loser. I know the extra tips and tricks on how you can get across platforms in Donkey Kong Bonanza by breaking a bit of rock out of the ground, fucking throwing it like a frisbee, and then doing fucking double, triple jumps or whatever, and then all this shit. I know this shit because I'm a fucking loser, bro. I'm a loser. Anyway, 3 out of 5. Then you have some breakdancing kids. George, their brother and sister, George and Ophelia. George comes out, he's popping and fucking locking. I usually do not respect breakdancing children because from personal experience, I've seen that all children can breakdance if you give them a dib-dab. All you need to give them is highly concentrated sugar. Sherbert. And they go fucking apeshit. My young fella hasn't taken a single breakdancing class. He would my daughter would, she fucking, we'd be popping and I gave her a fucking Christmas tree marshmallow in her hot chocolate today. And she was like fucking Diversity in the fucking, on the couch. The band. Anyway, George comes out, he's popping and locking. I'm like, all right, here we go, breakdancing kid. Then Ophelia comes out, smaller little sister, she looks maybe 4 or 5, and she comes out and she looks like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be cute. She's going to try and copy her older brother. Let me tell you something. She pulls the biggest fucking hustle, fucking color of money shit here. Is that what it's about, the pool one? Paul Newman? Anyway, pulls an absolute hustle, comes out here all, shy and a bit, she's popping and locking like she's actually made of tin, like a tin man or something. I don't know. I don't have an analogy. She fucking kills it. Some of the best breakdancing I've seen. And then she shows the same move again. And I'm like these kids, they're just sitting on genius. They're just sitting on genius. And they unfortunately just have to endure adult conversation all the time. If you meet kids and you're like, oh, they seem a bit shy, like they're putting up with you. These kids are geniuses. These kids are next fucking level talent. And the fact they have to come and talk to a host on a show and that doesn't get across their absolute fucking skill and mastery But then when they turn it on, they turn it on. Anyway, they're popping and locking and they're fucking dancing around. They're dancing so much. Paddy is so in the pocket. He's so confident. He just pulls up a bird from the crowd, starts dancing with her. Let me tell you something. I'm so sorry to hear about them separating him and his missus. This chap is going to smash on fucking Hinge or Raya because he's a celebrity like myself. I'm telling you, he's a fucking catch. Patrick Keelty, he is going to be doing, he'll be fine. Anyway, they're dancing around. They're doing Just Dance. The kids seriously have the moves. Obviously, they've been tucking into the dib dab. I give them a 3.5 out of 5. Actually, I give it a 4 because, to be honest, Ophelia, I'll give 2 for Ophelia alone, for the two of them. Now, that also would be given 2 for, but, I would give it an extra 2 for Ophelia's popping and locking. 4 out of 5. Well done. Paddy's in the absolute pocket this show. He's smashing it. Then you have the county parade. And they start singing Put 'Em Under Pressure. And then you have this kid fucking shredding on the guitar. This kid, Alex. And then you're representing all the counties, which is a much better way of doing it, rather than just a bunch of kids on a bike, Getting all the counties in there. I don't remember where she's from, but there's a gymnast. Her name is Piper. She absolutely fucking smashes it. She's a young girl. She's doing all crazy acrobatics and bending over like, you're one in The Exorcist and shit. Now, I will say, poor Saoirse has to follow that on a scooter, all right? I would just say, whatever. That's what this show used to be, coming out on a scooter. Being like a fucking 12-year-old on a scooter. But it was tough now for Saoirse having to follow that. And just on a scooter, just going on a scooter. So whatever. Maybe if the list could be curated differently next year, is all I'm saying. But I really enjoyed it. I gave the County Parade 3 out of 5. Then, we 7 finished this. Then the girls are doing Bewitched. One of the GAA girls denies Paddy a high five. Absolute divilment. Hilarious. But it was a slam dunk of a show. Yes, still, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. I'll give the County Parade a 3.5 out of 5. Now we get into this bit where it's kind of an animal hospital bit, where you have this little dog called Cooper who's got a little sore paw. And they have to rub it loads and then put a cast on it. And then eventually it's meant to make some noise and it's going to walk again. Like Keelty is Christ himself and will make the lame dog walk. And then eventually does walk and it takes ages. And to be honest, little Cooper, this fucking toy dog, again, one of these will spend longer putting in batteries than kid will play toys. Pretty shit. But either way, this dog walking again gets a bigger pop than fucking Keno did when he came out. For shame. Then they play this funny marshmallow game that I actually do want to play, where you have tiny little hands and you have to put as many marshmallows in your mouth. Let me tell you, I will die. Will Smith once was saying, he was like, if you run on a treadmill with me and we say we are not going to, we are going to run until one of us quits, I will either win or die on that treadmill. Now, he's a piece of shit these days, but I would physically die. You will not out-eat me. You will not out-eat me. You think you can. You think you can, but you won't. You won't. I will. I mean, maybe the dexterity thing might be a bit tough. Don't give me a time limit on it. Whatever. Marshmallow game looks good. I wouldn't mind getting it. But I will say, the whole Animal Hospital segment, 2 out of 5. Rare miss for what's been a fairly decent show so far. Then you got the K-pop Demon Hunter girls coming out. And at this point, I was like, if fucking Apata was too big, was song too big for you, babe, I can only imagine what these kids are going to do with Golden, the greatest song of 2025. The greatest song of 2025, Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. A movie I know. Again, I'm getting all these references. All you old fogies in your late 20s who have no idea what this fucking show. I know about this shit, bro. I'm actually fucking clued in again. This is the one late of the whole year where I actually know what's going on. Is that a good thing? I don't know. But I'm watching this and the fucking set of pipes on these kids. I thought when they start playing the opening to Golden, I was like, all right, there's someone in Spotlight who is teeing these kids up to fail. These kids have clearly slighted someone. This is like the fucking sending them off to Craggy Island, equivalent. They have annoyed some people in Spotlight. They've been sent out here to sing Golden, and they fucking smash it. And then Soda Pop, even Soda Pop by the Saya Boys, They kill it as well. Takedown as well. They're doing all the hits from K-pop Demon Hunters, all the songs that I know. And I was thinking of my fellow young hot guys. They're like, they don't have a fucking clue what these tunes are. I actually know what's going on in politics at the moment, lads. 4 out of 5. Somehow song not too big for ya, babe. Then you have Layla coming out here. Layla's got a fucking Type 5 and being a Liverpool fan. Quality power. Would almost get me back into Liverpool after falling out with them based on their recent performance. As you know, I'm a fair weather fan and the weather's not been great. So I've fallen out with Liverpool a little bit. But I'm back in with Ireland, which is good. I was off Ireland until the Troy Parrott goal. And now I'm back interested in supporting them. So, but anyway, Layla's fucking killing it. They're doing a funny little thing, United Liverpool, you know. And then they do a little quiz. And essentially one of the questions is, why are United shite? And she's like, they got shite fans. And then Conor Bradley from Liverpool, here to blow the mind of Layla, sends in a video and performs this kind of heartwarming message. And it's even worse than Shane Lowry. I'm not going to have a go at you, Connor. I am having a go. It's worse than Shane Lowry. It looks like this fucker's reading it from an auto cue from another room with a fucking mirror in between, bounced off so we could see it from the jacks. You know how people used to play PlayStation on the toilet with a long wire and the mirror on the back of the door? He's staring off at a fucking nut, like 60 degrees off screen. But Layla is delighted. They're going to be the mascot. They get to go out for some match in Anfield. I wouldn't really paying attention. I don't really keep abreast of what Liverpool are doing at the moment because they're not doing very well. But anyway, Layla loves it. And you know, she gets a fucking 4 out of 5 too. I thought it was a whopper. Then I got no bit for this. We see the poor little kids. We see the sick kids coming in playing with the toys. Only You by Yazoo is playing. I was fucking protein borling myself. I was fucking bawling my eyes crying. I just fucking hell. These kids, I'm so happy they get to have this happy experience. I have no joke for it. I'm moving on. We're on to the library now where they're reviewing the books. You got a girl dressed up like Coco Chanel. No, wait, she's not dressed up as Coco Chanel. She wants to be Coco Chanel because she read a book about it once, which, hey, have we not all done? She shows a communion dress that she designed. Now, let me tell you, she shows the drawing, and then we see the dress. The seamstress who made this, I'd say, took a fucking lot of liberties with these sketches for the good. The sketches, she's a child. She draws like a child. This dress is immaculate. It's stunning. It's big, but the drawing was big. Anyway, doesn't phase Coco Chanel, you know. She's very chuffed, and I just love seeing people actualize their dreams. And whoever the seamstress was that made this so much better, to be perfectly honest, in the drawing, I commend you too. Then you have a young fella called Jake. He pulls a 6'7", a little, but I will say a little forced. It was a little forced. He even admits the mates in the school asked him to do it. There was actually too long of an explanation about it. Reminded me of my brother, where, you know, I'm very good at secrets and just not telling people I've done something wrong. He would be like, I did a bit of graffiti up the, you know, down the road, and I'm sorry. My mom would be like, don't tell me this shit. Why are you even telling me this shit? Run in and be like, Mom, am I allowed to throw snowballs at the buses? She'd be like, yes, but fucking hell, stop asking me this shit. I don't want to be fucking complicit, you know? I'm not saying Jake was as bad as that, but you know what? There was a lot of explanation for having to and again, I'm telling you, anyone ever even made a fucking slight mention of my young fella? And they were like, yeah, 6'7" was a little bit forced. Let me tell you, I would sack in this whole comedy thing. I would become an estate agent. I would offer you twice your asking price of your house, and I would get you involved in like a long process where I would just make up, offers from other, clients, offering to buy your house. This isn't as good as the other two examples I gave. And then I would tell you had to move out of the house, so that the others could move in. And I would say, I fucking swear to God, guys, like I have the cash. They've transferred it now. He really just said no solicitors, but I have it now, so we're golden, you know. And then, I would just disappear. I would just disappear off the face of the earth and leave these people homeless. If they said that about my child, that their 6'7" meme was a little forced. So, anyway, then there's a young fellow called Arian. who is not an Aryan. He does a little dance. But again, the audience have been fucking tucking into the old wine that makes you forget how to clap, and they are clapping at fucking 220 BPM, napalm death metal shit. Almost throws young fella off, but it doesn't, because he's a pro. And he does a little jig, little Irish dance, and he fucking kills it. He's dressed as a pilot for some reason, no one knows why. But Paddy does a bit of a segue. He's like, well, obviously, what's this about being a pilot? Obviously, you're a pilot, and you're going to Harry Potter land or something, And Jake says his man loves Harry Potter, Look, kids are lovely. Good for them. I'm happy with all the kids. 3 out of 5. Would be 4 out of 5 if there was a mention of Kathy Burke's Animalopedia book, which has been voted the greatest kids book of all time by Unpost this year. Highly recommend you check that out. My kids love it. Then we're coming to the end. The losers, the Dun Laoghaire losers come out. They're singing CMAD. They sound good. But they're obviously a bit wise to what's going on. I don't know if I buy it. Well, I do buy it. I'm not saying this was staged. All right? Because the kids were bawling their eyes when they found out that the cameras were even in the room, their classroom, and they were told that they were going to go to Montrose to see the toy show. Maybe they're just that good, but they're like tight as a fucking drum. They're delivered. They're singing a CMAT song, and everyone sounds amazing. But I'm telling you, their eyes keep shooting at the entrance. Like they know someone's coming. They know CMAT's coming. They know. All right. There's no magic left in the world. They know. All right. So I just find it a bit weird that they would be there and they already know this song and they've practiced this song and they're tight as a drum, and then CMAT comes out. I'm not saying it's staged. All right. But something a bit off about it. Anyway, CMAT does come out dressed as that jester from that animated show that Terry put on one time that I didn't like. Blows their minds. And you can just fucking tell CMAT is just delighted to be in the show. And then she gets to top the numbers for the appeal. It's over 4 milli. Paddy, thanks everyone. He's tearing up. I'm all cried out. And I put the kids to bed. I'm going to say this, best toy show in a long time. I had a wonderful time. Well done, everyone. Well done, all you little production designers. Well done, all the kids. And you know what? I guess the Grinch's heart did grow 3 sizes that day, because I'm going to say that was the best toy show I've seen in a long time. And I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be talking about it. And you know what? That toy show, I will say, almost as good a show as my show, You Cry Weird, which is touring in 2026. Let me give you some dates. I'm going to be performing in Greystones in the Whale Theatre on February 14th, Valentine's Day. On March 6th, I'm going to be in Portlaoise in Kavanagh's. And March 13th, I'm going to be in Blanche in the Driocht. March 20th, I'm going to be in Clonakilty in Tabarras. I can't wait for that one. March 21st, I'm going to be in the Abbey Tavern in Howth. It's one of my favourite gigs to do. On April 11th, Galway. I'm in Monroe's, baby. It's a rock and roll venue, but so am I. April 18th, the big one in Dublin's Vicar Street. April 18th, love to see you there. April 24th, I'm back in Cork, believe it or not, in Cypress Avenue. May 2nd, I'm going to be in the Spirit Store in Dundalk. May 8th, I'm going to be in Dolan's in Limerick. May 24th, I'm going to Waterford for the first time. Bank Lane in Waterford. I'm also going to be on May 28th for the first time in Dun Laoghaire, where I go, where those loser girls are from. They're not losers, well done, girls. I'm going to be in the Pavilion in Dun Laoghaire on May 28th. I'm up in Belfast. When is this about the Limelight 2? I'm going to be in the Limelight 2 Belfast, May 29th. And then not too far from my house in Dundrum on June 5th, I'm going to be in the Mill Theatre. I would love to see you there. Go to Tony Horror, as you know, on my Instas. Go into my little link in bio, Linktree jobby, and you can grab your tickets right now. Thank you so much. I love you dearly. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks, but you can catch me next week over on the bonus podcast, where I will be listing out my 38 laws on how to live a better life since turning 38. Can't wait to see you there. I'm so happy to be back. All the best. Bye-bye.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with Head Stuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.